Mi rispondi niente, è un casino a volte. Non so proprio che cosa ci mente. What's going on, everyone? I'm back again today with a new package coming straight from the Barber plug. And just like always, I want to get this out there. I bought this with my own money. This is not a sponsored video or anything like that. Wanted to get some new stuff, and they always have cool stuff on there. So if you're not familiar, the Barber plug is where I'm getting this from. I needed to re-up on some neck strips, so I went ahead and grabbed some of these. And they also sent some complimentary hair grips, so that's always nice to have. But the main contents of why I ordered this was the new Cocco trimmers. I know a lot of people are talking about this and the digital gapping. I wanted to test them out because I'm a Team Babyliss guy. Still use my FX everyday boosted ones. I also like the Sabres and I use those pretty often, but still when it comes to lineups, I'm Team Babyliss. But I'm always down to try new things, and that's what I'm gonna do with these. I'm gonna see if these change my mind, you know, so let's get into this unboxing. I'm not sure exactly how many versions of this trimmer was made. It looked to me like it could have been 2, but I could be off on that. It looked like there was the original black version, and I didn't see this switch on the front. So I'm guessing there was a second version made with a bunch of different colors, and that's what this one is. I decided to get the gray one. I actually have plans on making this one purple to match the rest of my tools. If you guys aren't aware, I have a bunch of different purple tools, and I'm gonna try to get these to match. I wanna purple these out and get them to match the rest of mine. So I'm gonna take this thing apart and we'll see if that's something that's feasible, and I'm gonna show you guys how we do that as well. But let's go ahead and unbox this. Just like everything else, it's coming in that same Apple packaging. So you have your cable, plugs into this USB block. So it comes with the block and the cable. This one also comes with a dock. It looked like the black one doesn't, but this one comes with the dock as well. Still guys, I'm not sure if I'm gonna use this. I really wanna wait on that power pod to get some newer versions in there and go to that. But it's cool that it has that option. Lastly, we have our trimmer here. This one is gray, digital gap blade. It looks very similar to like a DLC Babyliss blade. I do like the look of this trimmer. In hand, it feels nice. About the width that I like, a little slimmer, but shorter than a Babyliss trimmer. Let's go ahead and compare these. A little bit shorter, around that same width as far as sound. A little louder than I was expecting, to be honest with you. Probably a little bit louder than the Babyliss if I had to guess. And so I know that means they're more loud than the Sabres. The Sabres are one of the more quiet ones. But I'm gonna do my best to get these purple. So stay tuned and let's see if we can make that happen. Another thing I just noticed too, it is USB-C compatible. So basically the new iPhone charger, iPad chargers, you can charge this as well with that. So that's nice to have. I haven't done any research. I don't know exactly how to take these apart. I'm just kind of going with it, and I see these screws down here, so let's see what happens. I didn't dig too much, but looking on YouTube, I didn't see too many videos on these, so hopefully it's pretty self-explanatory. We'll see. This was on here, this pops off. We got 2 more screws, so we're just gonna keep going with it and see where it takes us. Hopefully it takes us somewhere. Alright, pause. And excuse my blue tongue. I just ate a Jolly Rancher, so that explains that. Anyway, this is future me. This is about a week later from that last clip, and I already ran into a dilemma with this trimmer. So I was taking the casing off, and after I pulled this part off, and you get these 2 screws right here, one of them came stripped, so I couldn't get it out of there. And for this one, since I'm making a video, I really want to do it right for you guys. And I want to take this casing apart, take the button off, have it as clean as I can. So I didn't want to cut any corners and you know, tape around this and do it without getting that fixed. So luckily I took a Dremel to it, put a slit through the screw, got it out with the flathead, but the screw came stripped on the trimmer, so that's kind of annoying. Anyway, let's get back into the tutorial. Got both of these screws out of here. I put them in this little container so I don't lose them. Not sure what it looks like under here. You always want to be careful doing this. You don't want to force anything. All right, so this comes off like that. It's got a little shelf that it has to sit on right there. My plan is to take this button off right here so I can just paint it with this off of it completely. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the blade off of this because it looks like that's necessary. So next what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take these two screws out and take out the motor, battery, all of the internals. So that's what I'm gonna do. Pretty easy actually, pretty self-explanatory. Next what I wanna do is get this button out of here without breaking it. You gotta flick this little black thing over the ledge and it kinda gets tilted, and then the button just comes apart in two. So you got the front of the button, the back of the button. Make sure you don't lose any of these pieces, guys. Literally all I'm left with is the back of the casing and the front of the casing. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna prep these, and once we prep them correctly, I'm gonna take them outside to paint. So the first thing that I like to use for prep work is a Scotch-Brite sponge. I know most people watching this probably have one of these laying around the house. You can also use a Scotch-Brite pad. I've also used sandpaper before, but I actually like these a little better. So what we're gonna do, we're basically just gonna sand both of these down. I usually just go in little circles like this and make sure you get the edges on all of this. You don't want certain areas to be more prepped than other areas. I'll spend 10 minutes doing this just to make 100% sure that I've gotten all the areas and gotten that top layer off of here. Because what you're doing, you're taking off the top protectant coat. Whenever you think you're done, go like 2 minutes more. And these little crevices right here, you gotta make sure you get inside of that because that's an easy spot to just slide over it while you're scrubbing and just completely miss the layer that's inside of there. You can tell it's extremely flat now and it was a little bit glossy before this, so protective coat is gone. So I'm gonna clean up here and I'll meet you guys at the sink. All right guys, we're in the kitchen now. We got them all buffed up. The important thing to do now is to get them rinsed and washed off because you want to get any oil or any leftover dust that might be sitting on this. You want to get that off of there. So I'm going to rinse it in hot water, use some typical dish soap, and I'm going to use the other side of the sponge to make sure that these are clean before we start any type of painting. Now that we let these guys dry, I'm gonna get some rubbing alcohol, I'm gonna spray them down, and I'm gonna scrub it with a paper towel. And you're gonna see some of the paint rub off onto this, and don't worry, that's what we want. One thing I did do for these guys, and I didn't record it, but I did tape off the inside of this, put some painter's tape in there, use an X-Acto knife to cut out the edge, peeled it off, because once we put that button back on, it's gonna have a hard time going up and down once we put several layers of paint on this. So I'm gonna block this off while painting it, and I hope that that works okay. But now let's head to the garage. All right, fellas, we're out in the garage now, and I'm hoping this is gonna work okay because the paint that I have suggests you to apply it from 60 degrees Fahrenheit until 85 degrees Fahrenheit. And here in Memphis right now, it's like 40 something. So I don't wanna do this in my crib, so I'm gonna do it out here and hope that it works. Basically, I'm just gonna lay these on a platform, and that way it won't get on the floor or on the walls or anything. So I have a big like box that I always do this. So you can see the purple right there. The paint that I'm gonna be using is this Rust-Oleum 2x, 2X, whichever one, gloss grape. Got this from Ace Hardware, but you can use any kind of paint. You just wanna make sure for this particular trimmer, it's a metal housing, so you wanna make sure that it can bond with metal. This one does, as you can see, but most of them bond to plastic metal. Just make sure whatever you're trying to use it for, you get a paint that can stick on that material. Next, for the clear protectant coat, I'm using this like automotive type protectant, Duplicolor 1K clear extreme gloss. If it can be protected on car paint, usually it'll be protected on a clipper. So I use this, but I've also used different finishers like the Rust-Oleum 2x clear. This one works okay too, but I just feel more protected with the automotive one. All right guys, so I had to do something a little different for this trimmer because it's structured a little different. So the back part of it, I didn't want to just lay it down like I did the front, like I've done anything else. I made a little hole and I stuck it standing vertically. it has a piece that wraps around the front, and I want to paint it and let it dry simultaneously with the rest of it. Like I don't want to do the whole back, flip it over, do the front little piece. So what I did, and you'll see I'm gonna have it sticking up like this, and I just made a little hole in the cardboard. This one I'm gonna keep laying down, but for that I'm gonna spray it sticking up, and let's hope that it just stands there. So for this first coat of paint we're gonna do, we wanna do it very lightly, be easy with it, try to keep it even, stand back a couple feet, and you still wanna see the gray coming through, but just remember to keep it light. All right, so now we have that first little layer on there. We're gonna let that sit for like 5+ minutes. All right, so it's been 5 minutes, and I'm gonna put on a second coat. And remember guys, you wanna keep this moving. You don't wanna just sit here and hammer on in one spot and let it pile up. You wanna continuously move as you're spraying. So it's been 5 minutes on this first coat. That was pretty thin. I'm gonna do it a little bit thicker, but still try to keep it pretty thin. And I'm gonna let this one for sit around 10 minutes. All right, so it's been about 10 minutes on that second coat. So now we're gonna start the third one. And for this one, you don't wanna glob it on there, but you want this one to be a thick one because it's gonna be the last coat of paint we do. And make sure you pay attention to the edges of it, like the bottom and the sides and the tops. You wanna make sure that you're spraying that as much as you are the actual panel. So just pay attention to that as you're going. So we're gonna let this one sit for 30 minutes. We'll come back and start the clear coat. And guys, listen to me. You wanna block off a whole night or a weekend to do this right. Don't go doing this before work and you got a client coming in and you're painting your favorite clipper or your only trimmer. Don't do that shit, listen to me. Do it right and it'll pay off, it'll be worth it. I promise, I've made that mistake. All right, so it's been 30 minutes and now I have the clear coat and we're gonna do 4 of these guys, 10 minutes in between each of the 4. All right guys, it's time to put on the last coat, and this might be the most important thing you do during this whole time. So we're gonna put this on there. We wanna make sure it's very smooth. If you look at the paint with the light on it and it looks very bumpy, do some more coats, but mine's looking pretty good. So this is the 4th coat. I'm gonna put this on there and I'm gonna leave this for 2 days, 48 hours. Don't cut any corners, I'm telling you. If you pick these up after a few hours or one day, they're gonna come out cheap. Listen to me, because you gotta think, we're using these a lot. We're picking them up, putting them down, they're touching other stuff. You're putting the charger in it, you're putting them in the drawer, setting them on the mat, you're spraying it with Cool Care, you're brushing it with the brush. These have to take a beating. So I'm gonna spray this final coat on there. We're gonna let them completely cure for 2 days. And then we're gonna come back and put this together. Let's go. Moment of truth, let's take this tape off and see what's underneath. There you go. Turned out pretty good. In a perfect world, this would be purple underneath, but I've done it that way before where I paint that, and I promise it ends up looking super cheap. As this goes up and down over the years, the paint will chip off and you'll see some gray and it'll be spotty, so this is gonna be better. And you can see where this was in the hole that I had in the cardboard. So this wasn't getting sprayed, but there's a cover that goes on that, so it doesn't matter. But this kept it up while I was painting it. And this is the piece around the front I was concerned about. Let's put this thing together and see what we think. There you go, guys. Came together pretty flawlessly. I like the way it feels too. That metal feels nice. Guys, you gotta check these out. I love the way these came out. Super happy with it. Let me know if anybody else has ever customized these. I haven't seen anything, but I saw the other colors and thought the yellow ones were clean and the green ones, but I had to get a purple one. So to my knowledge, these are the first purple pair of Cocco trimmers out there. So let me know if you guys like them as well. I wanted to include a review of the performance of this trimmer as well, but I think I'm gonna do a part 2 where I actually cut with these and let you know how I think. I hope I like these, man. Fair. So these are the Cocco Vinos. But if you're new here, I go by the name of Vino. We do barber and fashion, lifestyle, a lot of different things. Thanks for checking me out. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope that I see you next time. Ciao ragazzi e ci vediamo la prossima volta. Ciao.